Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Arena Frontier here on Gateway Sports. Getting very close to playoff times here in Arena football season, though there has been a few hiccups before the playoffs in two of the leagues here going on. Though the IFL is going strong, the American Arena League is about to have their championship both for the main one, and for the two. Then, of course, we got the continuation of the Arena League after they had their bye in the 4th of July weekend, because this is going to be a short show because not a lot of arena games, but we are going to kind of talk a bit of some of the stuff that's going to go on a little bit here. But first, we'll start with the IFL here. They only had 3 games here the 4th of July weekend. First one, the Vegas Nighthawks versus the New Mexico Chupacabras. Not much here. It's what I predicted. You basically have the defending champs facing one of the worst teams in the IFL when it comes to, uh, including the New Mexico Chupacabras, and they, of course, didn't have their main quarterback again and had to do something else due to injury. It could be something else. It's still not clear. But the Vegas Nighthawks, from start to finish, beat the New Mexico Chupacabras 50-16. Like I said, nothing much. Just the Vegas just won every notch of the game there. It just like honestly, New Mexico to me is just straight up embarrassing. So yeah, like I said, 50-16. Vegas quarterback Quincy Crittenden, 12-16, 169 yards, 4 TDs, 1 interception, 3 rushing yards for -6 yards. Running back John Irby, 6 attempts, 41 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions, and 19 yards. Running back Antonio Wimbush, 6 attempts, 19 yards, 3 receptions, 30 yards, and a touchdown. Wide receiver Deshaun Stoudemire, 2 receptions, 40 yards, and 2 TDs. Wide receiver Seneca McGee, I'm sorry, Creep, 2 receptions, 30 yards, and a touchdown. And their best defensive performance for the Nighthawks, Cedric Wilcox II, 2 tackles, 1 assist, and a half sack. Then in New Mexico, they had also their running back, James White, Pole, WWA's quarterback and running back, was 1 through 6, 36 yards, got a passing touchdown, 12 rushing attempts for -10 yards. Ugh. 1 reception for 4 yards. Then also quarterback Aron Reuter, 5 through 8, 24 yards, 2 attempts, and 27 yards. Running back Walter Willman III, 11 attempts, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Wide receiver Damon Street, 3 receptions, 48 yards, and a touchdown. And best defensive performance for the Chupacabras, Gleason Spreewell, 3 tackles, 1 assist, 1 forced fumble, and an INT. Now we go to pretty much a lopsided battle to the Green Bay Blizzard versus the Orlando Pirates. And thankfully, yes, this was a game that went back and forth and lasted right to the end, and probably will be a playoff matchup when it comes to the Eastern side division, of course. And the Blizzard and Pirates just kept going back and forth as usual with this, and the Blizzard just barely notched over the Orlando Pirates by 2 points, 52-50. This was just basically just win for getting like what seeding you're going to get for in the playoffs here. That's basically what this was, because I expect this to be a playoff matchup within the for this season. So it's not that long, and I'll just say like once for the Pirates, Puka Williams did really well as the running back. And once again, it's still amazing. Green Bay Blizzard doing as good as it when their top 2 offensive players went to the Arizona Rattlers. It's still quite amazing. So, as I said, Green Bay quarterback Liam Thompson, 11 through 20, 162 yards, 3 TDs, 8 attempts, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Running back Kyrie Robinson, 20 attempts, 70 yards, and a touchdown, 1 reception for 7 yards. Wide receiver Drayson Hudson, 7 receptions, 92 yards, 2 TDs. Wide receiver Trayvon Alexander, 3 receptions, 63 yards, 1 TD, 1 assist, 1 yard, and a touchdown. Best defensive performance for the Blizzard, Fred Flavors, 8 tackles and 1 assist and tackle. Orlando Paxton Durant, 11 through 17, 124 yards, 3 TDs, 12 rushing attempts for 40 yards, and 2 rushing TDs. Running back Puka Williams, 8 attempts, 122 yards, 2 TDs, 1 reception for 8 yards, and then he got some, of course, one kick return for 124 yards. Wide receiver Thomas Owen, 7 receptions, 70 yards for 2 TDs. wide receiver DeQuan Murray, 2 receptions, 30 yards, and a touchdown. And best defensive performance for the Pirates, Leon O'Neal, 5 tackles and 6 assists. Then for the final game, watched this one pretty closely. Arizona at Rattlers and the San Diego Strike Force. It was a bit more close in the first quarter, and it seems like it was a good matchup. And this, of course, is going to probably be a matchup within the Western Conference. But for some reason, like right because it was neck and neck after the first 7-7, then Arizona just start gunning and all that stuff there in the second quarter, and they never look back. And the San Diego Strike Force lose at home, and it was just like it was just neck and neck. Then all of a sudden, the Rattlers just ran away with it. I was just quite surprised when I was watching this game Monday night. So I don't know. It just happened like that. So, and Max Maylor, like I said, the Rattlers, they're just this was just to get some better seeding because the Rattler San Diego Strike Force was ranked higher, if I remember correctly, because we're going to go over through the standings here. So this helps them in the seeding when it comes to the playoff picture. So once again, the Arizona Rattlers ran away with it, starting within the second quarter of the game at 65-36. Like I said, Rattlers quarterback Max Miller, 12 through 18, 182 yards, 5 TDs, 9 attempts, 22 yards, and a touchdown. Juan Brown Jr., 3 attempts, 10 yards, a touchdown, 1 reception, 8 yards, and a touchdown. And then, of course, some kick returns for 27 yards. Running back Kamari Clark, 2 attempts, -3 yards, and a touchdown. Amazing you get a touchdown and still get negative yardage. Wide receiver Arlen Bruce IV, 6 receptions, 94 yards, 3 TDs. Wide receiver Corey Reed Jr., 3 receptions, 45 yards, and a touchdown. Best defensive performance for the Rattlers, Yashawn McGee Sr., 4 tackles, 1 reception, and returned that for a touchdown. San Diego Strike Force, Nate Davis, 12 through 25, 145 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception, 1 attempt, 8 yards, a kick return, 8 yards. Then also did then also and got a receiving touchdown himself and a trick play, 1 reception, 3 yards, and a touchdown. Then Krell Cayley did both quarterback and running back duties here, 4 attempts for 5 yards and a touchdown, and 1 through 3 yards and a touchdown. That's the touchdown, of course, Nate Davis caught. Running back Edward Vander, 11 attempts, 16 yards, 3 receptions for 20 yards. Wide receiver Jalen Sample, 6 receptions, 78 yards, and 2 TDs. Wide receiver Shane Hooks, 1 reception, 21 yards, and a touchdown. And best defense for Adam Anderson, 3 tackles, 3 assists, and a sack. And going right now in the playoff picture here. Eastern right now, of course, we got the only team eliminated as of right now, which is surprising. Well, not surprising, of course. I mean, just like it's still too close with only about 3 weeks left to play. Ira Barnsford eliminated at 1-12. You got Quad City at 5-8 and Fish Freight at 7-7 at 500. So those it's either going to be one or the other to get some either in the playoffs there. Then Orlando Pirates are 8-6 at the 4 seed. The 3 seed is Tulsa Oilers at 8-5. So and the Jacksonville Sharks still there in the playoffs right now as the number 2 seed at 9-4. Then for, like I said, the Vegas for Western, eliminated are New Mexico Chupacabras at 2-12 and Northern Arizona Wranglers at 2-11. Still somehow San Antonio Gunslingers are still in it at 4-9. Then the Tuscan Sugar Skulls are at 6-7. Then the Arizona Rattlers have a playoff spot here at the 3 seed. Then the 2 seed San Diego Strike Force was, like I said, that game between the Arizona and San Diego Strike Force was just for playoff seeding and for a home game, though in this instance it was a home game for San Diego, so it doesn't look like it mattered that much right there. Then Vegas Nighthawks, the defending champions, right now has home field advantage in the Western as of right now only by a game. So going to have to see how that goes there. So that goes for the Indoor Football League. Very good standings so far, as we can see here. Oh yeah. Just to remind people before we go to the AF1, a little bit of the American Arena League because they had a bye from last week. They didn't play their championship game. Of course, will be the Columbus Lions versus the Wheeling Miners the Saturday evening. I believe it's going to be on YouTube. I'm hoping, though most of the Wheeling Miners game has been on another type of streaming service or type of streaming network. So hopefully it does go on YouTube. They haven't not announced that yet. And then the American Real League before AL2 is going to have their championship a little bit earlier. So doubleheader if when they do that. But news in the AAL, they actually announced a team that's going to be coming to the AAL in 2027. So that brings their total of teams next year to 7. And it's a team that's going to be coming from the AL2. So for me, released July 3rd, 2026, the American Real League is proud to announce the Ohio Legends as its newest expansion team for the 2027 season. Under ownership of Mr. Charles Winters and his business partners, the team has worked it's developed from AL2 and has put together and provide the necessary documentation to complete its vetting process. They are dedicated to creating opportunities for overlooked athletes while bringing top-notch family entertainment to the community. The American Arena League are thrilled to announce the team as part of the AL expansion for 2027, and we look forward to continuing growth and success. So now they got the Ohio Legends, the Texas Wild Hogs, and the Montgomery City Catfish as the 3 new teams so far for next year. So, like I said, they're probably going to add another team. So, right now we have 2 teams that were just expanded on themselves, and then 1 so far coming from the AAL2. So, right now it's kind of 50-50. There probably could be another team coming from the AL2, or it could be another brand new one. So, be interesting to see how it goes there. So, it's good that instead of having 2 games a week, as of right now, like I said, they're probably going to add 1 more team, and it'll be 4 games. And like I said, the AL is kind of doing it right here. And then they have their minor league system, which is developing potential future markets and development in the minor league system. So I kind of like that and see like if it succeeds. And like I said before, I kind of want them to try a arena team in the state of Maine just to see how that goes, because honestly, there needs to be more teams within the northeastern part of the United States. Okay, so that goes for AAL news there. So, like I said, their season comes to the end this Saturday with their championship for 2027. So, now let me see, make sure here. Okay, got it. Now for AF1. So let's start with some of the good stuff first. So the first game for AF1 was the Nashville Cats versus the Washington Wolfpack. Kind of similar to the Arizona Rattlers and the San Diego Strike Force. It was neck and neck between the first quarter. They tied each other at 13-13. And then it just went better for the Nashville Cats, because it seemed like the Washington Wolfpack could get like an upset for how neck and neck it was. Then all of a sudden, the Nashville Cats got the momentum and just kept on pounding and pounding the Washington Wolfpack. So it's very interesting how that went. So I'm just very surprised. Like I said, the Washington Wolfpack has already got my most improved team of 2026. So, but they still have a chance again in the playoffs, especially with maybe still not the confusing stuff that happens with another team in the AF1 this week. So, we'll see there. And then also with the Nashville Cats, an interesting matchup, an exciting one that's going to happen this upcoming weekend. Okay, so like Nashville Cats beat the Washington Wolfpack 68-30 against Washington there. So Nashville Tyler Kolka, 18-29, 344 yards, 5 TDs, interception, 1 rushing attempt, 2 yards, and a touchdown. Linebacker, running back Desmond Maxwell, 6 attempts, 15 yards, a rushing TD, and 1 reception for 8 yards. Wide receiver Malik Honeycutt, 4 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. 2 attempts, 9 yards, a touchdown. Then, of course, 3 kick returns for 43 yards. Wide receiver Jordan Gandy, 6 receptions, 117 yards, and 2 TDs. Wide receiver Kendall Williams, 5 receptions, 100 yards, and 2 TDs. Defensive back Amari Alexander, 2 tackles and 4 interceptions for best defensive performance for the Nashville Cats. Wide receiver for Washington quarterback, kind of interesting. And it's like last week they had Eric Phoenix as their quarterback last week, but then something changed, and I'll explain that more. Quarterback Russell Jagar Magali, 10 through 19, 79 yards and a touchdown and interception. One rushing attempt for 50 yards and a touchdown. Quarterback Andrew McBride, 7 through 23, 49 yards, 0 TDs, 4 INTs, one rushing attempt for a yard and a touchdown. Wide receiver Deshaun Williams, 5 receptions, 36 yards, and a touchdown. And best defensive performer for the Washington Wolfpack, Byron Edwards, 5 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 pass breakups, and also 5 kick returns, 75 yards with a kick return touchdown. Okay, next one. Next game, because they also had 3 games as well. The Albany Firebirds against the Beaumont Renegades, and this was a lot closer than I thought, but it was a very good game top to bottom, very competitive, but there was a change in quarterback or back two. Like, think either Sam Casanova got injured or maybe he's getting rested. I was a little bit confused because I didn't see, I might have missed what the news was, but Joshua Coca was back in and he didn't disappoint. Joshua Coca came in and Albany, like Beaumont, I'll say, improved tremendously from last week. But Albany Firebirds, with the firepower they had, still won 66 to 48. So it was still good, but Beaumont still needs improvement. So the question is, as me and Zach talked about, does Beaumont go back down after, like, they won the NAL championship, then they moved up, but I digress. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that here. But like I said before, Albany, with their talent that they have, even with the other quarterback, Joshua Coca, who was their starting quarterback at the beginning of the season, when then Sam Casanova came back from the UFL and came back as the starter. So it'll be interesting to see because there'll be an interesting matchup coming this weekend. Okay, Albany quarterback Joshua Coca, 19 to 28, 212 yards, 7 TDs, 1 rushing attempt for 1 yard and a rushing TD. Wide receiver Tyrus Chambers, 7 receptions, 72 yards, 4 TDs. Wide receiver Darren Townsend, 7 receptions, 89 yards, and 3 TDs. And best defensive performance, linebacker Drew Singleton, 5 tackles for the Firebirds. Then Beaumont Renegades, Carl Robinson, 50 to 26, 175 yards, 2 TDs, 3 rush attempt for 18 yards and a touchdown. Defensive lineman John Greggs, 1 rushing attempt for 2 yards and a touchdown, and also best defensive performer with 3 tackles and a sack. Wide receiver Jaden Barrow, 2 receptions, 24 yards, 2 attempts, 8 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Alexante Tapa, 1 reception, 6 yards and a touchdown. And wide receiver Zoroy Davis, 5 receptions, 70 yards and a touchdown. And the Albany beats the Beaumont Renegades. Now we get to the final game of the AF1 with a little bit of controversy. Yeah, the Minnesota Monsters handily beat the Kentucky Barrows, which is a higher seed, to 60 to 8 on there, and all the points came in the first half. They scored 6 points, then a safety in the second quarter. That was it. Though there was some kind of interesting here because, first off, this game was supposed to be on Vice. And it was announced to be on Vice, but it was on YouTube. And there was no like communication about that, so that was kind of weird. But that wasn't the weirdest thing about this game. This game, for one thing, had Eric Phoenix as the quarterback when he was the quarterback for the Washington Wolfpack the week before. But then also, too, it seemed like they didn't have the same players. And like I said, the Kentucky Barrows didn't play like how they could. Like, for example, the Monsters beat them 60 to 8. And then come to find out, and it finally showed up in the transaction history. Apparently, the rumor is the Kentucky Barrows organization haven't been paying their players or coaches. And on track, that's a lot of players were released, but also some got suspended from the league, including defensive stars Ezekiel Rose and Joe Powell. So this was kind of odd of what's going on here. Now, Kentucky Barrows still have a playoff spot, but now it's like, now it just seems like they're going to just have replacement players moving forward because of them not players getting paid. Heck, this isn't once again poor wide receiver Darius Prince being cursed like this, so that's just like, wow. So, and there hasn't really been a formal statement as of right now from the league, so that something needs to be said here because this is really fishy. Just really, really fishy. So the standard right now for the AF1 is that Oceanside Bombers at 8, they're pretty much eliminated. The Beaumont Renegades kind of have a chance still at 3 and 7. Washington Wolfpack at 6 with 5 and 6 and tied for in the 5 seed with the Michigan Arsenal at 5 and 6. Minnesota Monsters are at number 4 at 6 and 4. The Kentucky Barrels are at the 3 seed at 7 and 4. Then the Albany Firebirds are 9 and 2, and Nashville Cats at 2 and 1 right now. Pretty much Nashville and Albany have the home field advantage for their playoff games, but now with the Kentucky Barrels, with that situation that's rumored on here, so it's just odd. Just, just odd how this came to be. So I just don't know what they're going to do there. So I don't know. Like I have high hopes for AF1, but stuff like this is just like, what the heck's going on here? Okay, now we get to the more problem league out of the whole group right now, the International Arena League. And with the International Arena League, they had 3 games and they all played on the 4th of July. I don't know why. Uh, the European Stars lost again to the Utah Greats 54-13. The Arizona Juggernauts beat the Cincinnati Slingers 55-46. And then the Pennsylvania Benjamins beat the Las Vegas Rockers. But that's not the thing here. There was a report coming from Arizona from Matthew Jacobson, hashtag the Arizona Sports Guy, and he's a reputable source when it comes to Arizona sports. And on his X page, per sources, the Arizona Juggernauts have played their last home game at Mull Arena this season. They were originally scheduled to play Las Vegas on July 18th. I was also informed of alleged late payments that almost ended their season earlier. No statement from the league yet, so we're going to see if that's true or not, because they have a visiting game. All the games are actually played in Vegas this upcoming weekend for the International Arena League, but just another just problem for the International Arena League here. So I don't know, man. So like me and Zach said, like if the Juggernauts do go down, they just need us. Those teams that just do well internationally just need to join the AF1 over another league. Because though, if Zach said because the arenas were paid, but it doesn't seem like they might have been paid yet. So, just I don't know. Like I had high hopes for something new, and it just didn't happen here. And then the latest post from the National League was the standings here, because as of right now, the the Rockers dead last at 2 and 6. Then Eurostars, the makeup of everything from all the European teams that defunct and move over to the United States, are at 2 and 4. Fourth seeds, the Pennsylvania Vendors at 3 and 5. Then the Arizona Juggernauts at 3 at 5 and 4. Then you got the Utah Greats as number 2, and then the Cincinnati Slingers at 7 and 2. So yeah, then like I said before, all games are going to be played on Saturday at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. So that's, and of course nothing really changes there because the championship game is in Vegas. So are they going to have all the games in Vegas from now on? It's just kind of interesting how it is here, and just another trouble thing for the International Arena League. I just wish it was just better, man. I was hoping for the best just for something new, but to me, like, is it as bad as the Arena Football League a couple of years back? Well, kinda, in a way. Of course, they never had to deal with not having dasher boards and finding dasher board from a previous team that played in arena. So it just the international league really pretty much is a bust, just a big old bust for this year. It's just another league that just bites dust. Like we'll see if I would, like I said, me and Zach had this conversation that we want some of those teams to move into another league. All right, so that does with all the stuff there, and hopefully we get some answers. Like I said, for AF1 about the Kentucky Barrel situation. It just like it just needs to be better, man. A lot of things are to be better. So let's get into this weekend's on the 11th and 12th of this weekend here for Arena Football. Start with the Indoor Football League Week 18 here. They have Saturday and Sunday games. First game, the Orlando Pirates versus the San Antonio Gunslingers at 5 o'clock Eastern on the Overnight app. This will go to Orlando Pirates, and sorry, the San Antonio Gunslingers are pretty much done for the year. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern on the overnight app. The second game, the Green Bay Blizzard for the Iowa Barnstormers, 6 o'clock Eastern on the Yahoo Sports Network. Green Bay. Jacksonville Sharks versus the Tulsa Oilers at 7 o'clock Eastern on the overnight app. This is actually more a competitive game than you think, but Jacksonville's going to take it. Fisher's Freight versus the Quad City Steamrollers, as they're actually next to each other when it comes to the playoff picture. That will be 8 o'clock Eastern on the overnight app. I actually have Fisher's Freight just barely beating the Quad City Steamwheelers. Tuscan Sugar Skulls versus the Arizona Rattlers at 9 o'clock Eastern on Yahoo. I have the Rattlers beating the Sugar Skulls. Then Sunday, the New Mexico Chupacabras versus the National Arizona Wranglers. This is basically the battle for the worst. Well, battle to be not the worst. So let me be clear on that. So pretty much this is the Tank Bowl of the IFL. Let's see here. And they play at 4 o'clock Eastern on Yahoo. Then the final game, the San Diego Strikeforce versus Vegas. So a rematch, and this time it's in Vegas at 7:30 Eastern versus Yahoo Sports Network. So we're going to see if San Diego come back and embarrass the Nighthawks at home in order to get some better seeding. Okay, then for the AF1 here. Friday, the only Friday night game, and it's a late game on since it's being played Oceanside. Michigan Arsenal versus the Oceanside Bombers at 9 o'clock Central Time. That'll be on Yahoo. Michigan Arsenal is going to take that handily. Then on Saturday, a game that everyone's going to watch. This is definitely going to be on Vice at 6 o'clock Eastern. You have the Colcomania Bowl. Brother versus brother. Nashville Cats versus Albany. So this is going to have brother at quarterback on each team, and this is the matchup we've been waiting for because the last time they had this, San Castanora came back, so we couldn't have Colcomania then. So now we're going to have Colcomania now. So this is probably going to be the game of the week to watch. And for this one, it's a coin flip. This is just a game you just want to watch and see who wins. Like honestly, because this is the number 1 and 2 seed. This is basically have at it, we'll see, and then we'll probably see in a rematch. Now, the next game, the Kentucky Barrels for the Baymont Renegades. The game is still on, but I put a question mark because of what's happening with the Kentucky Barrels, because now they're going to have to sign replacement players, and they probably did, but now do they get to keep them and all that stuff, because they didn't pay them, and then apparently some of the coaches either, so, man, I don't know. So that's a question mark. The final game is the Washington Wolfpack versus Minnesota Monsters at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock Central Time. Washington Wolfpack versus Minnesota Monsters. This is pretty much a coin flip, but I want the Wolfpack to win, but I think the Monsters have a slight edge. Then you got the AL Championship Sunday evening, the Columbus Lions at Wheeling. I'm going to hope Wheeling takes it with the home field advantage, but it's going to be very close. Then you got the Arena League coming back. They have 2 Friday games at 7 o'clock and 2 Saturday games at 7 o'clock. One thing is the AL is always consistent with their games, and they all start at the same time, especially when it's split up like this. Arkansas Diamonds for the Memphis Hound Dogs. This is the battle for the best in that division. Though I have the Diamonds just narrowly beating the Hound Dogs in Memphis. Then you got the Iowa Woo versus St. Joe Goats. I'm going to have the Goats beating the Woo. Then Saturday, Nebraska Seeds versus the Eclair Axemen, Nebraska. Then you got the Monroe Greenheads versus the Ozark Lunkers. This one, I'll have the Lunkers beating out the Greenheads there. Then, as I said, for International League, Cincinnati Slings versus the Benjamins at 11 o'clock Pacific time, Cincy. Arizona Juggernaut versus European Stars at 2 o'clock Pacific time, Arizona. Then the Utah Great 8s versus the Las Vegas Rockers, Great 8s. So that'll be it for this upcoming weekend of Arena Football. And that'll be it for this short show here. We'll be back here at the regular scheduled time since we got all our technical stuff getting fixed here. So be back here for Arena Frontier on Gateway Sports here next week. Thank you for joining me. See you all next for this upcoming Tuesday. See you all till then.